advance 116-100, your final score in Game 5. Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. Bucks dominate. They won their last 3 games against Chicago by a combined 70 points. Jet, when the series is over, we say Chicago's doing what?
Gotta go night-night.
Time for Chicago to say night-night. Time for Playoff Central Live to start. Chris Miles here with Jet and Smitty. And let's get right down to it. The Bucks did not play around. They made 9 straight shots in that first quarter, came out to a 16-point lead, never looked back.
Well, Giannis came out right away and set the tone. He understands being a champion. When you have these guys on the rope and it's time to put them to sleep, that you have to take the charge. You have to be the one to come out and be the aggressor. He started out in the paint. I think he made his first 6 or 7 shots. He took 1 3 tonight, which told you what was on his mind. He was trying to inflict pain every time he came down the court.
Totally did, and I love what he did. The reason why is, like Jet said, sometimes you have a game you're supposed to win. You're the higher seed. They're down 2 or 3 people, and you never know you give them life. He did not want to give them life at all. And he said, hey, we're just going to make it physical. I'm going to drive the basketball and put pressure on you. I'm going to try to set the tone and try to get this over with quick. And, yes, he did that in the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, and like you said, Giannis made his first 7 shots. The Bucks, they opened up that lead in the first, but in the second quarter, they went on a 15-2 run, opened up a 29-point lead. Smitty, again, keeping their foot on the gas from the beginning to the end, and Giannis even talked about that. Determination,
Discipline, sharing the basketball, and this guy right here, I mean, he was determined to come out and say, hey, we're not playing another game against the Chicago Bulls. We're not going back to Chicago. That right there tells me, look at his shot chart. Everything is inside the charge circle except 1 shot.
Yes, the 1 3-pointer from the top of the key. And he said, you know, I'm going to go back to work, handle my business outside. The other thing is the outside shooters were on fire as well. Pat Connaughton made 6 threes. Grayson Allen, the last 3 games without Chris Middleton, 14 from 20 from long range. Those 2 guys came up big.
Yeah, without Chris Middleton, that bench production is going to be very critical to the success of the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, Connaughton, Grayson Allen, being able to stretch the floor when those guys are out there, it just opens up driving lanes, as you see here for Drew Holiday as he penetrates in transition. Also, Giannis in the half court, right? They're trying to front him in the post. Man comes over, boom, you spray it to Connaughton, he knocks it down. So these are good in-rhythm shots that they'll continue to get, especially against a team like Boston. Boston's defense is going to be designed to load the paint and stop Giannis from getting in there and causing damage.
The next round, second round, is set to start Sunday, 1 o'clock on ABC between Boston and Milwaukee. So let's look ahead, Smitty. This is a matchup, when you look at it as a second-round matchup and you think the hottest team in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics, versus the reigning champs. This is the series you should have your eyes on as one that could have easily been the Eastern Conference Finals.
This one's going to be very physical, Jet. And when you start looking at the size, look at Milwaukee. They started Bobby Portis, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. And their backcourt is Wesley Matthews and Drew Holiday. Then you switch over to Boston. Backcourt is Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart with Tatum, Horford, and Tice, and maybe probably Robert Williams. So everybody can pretty much switch. Everybody can box out. There's not going to be anybody that you can pick out and say, let's just pick on them in the post. It's going to be very physical down there in the paint.
And according to Woj, a report on Chris Middleton and his availability for that series, he's going to be reevaluated a week from now, 2 weeks after his initial injury. When you hear that, thinking about a knee and a sprained MCL, what does that tell you about his timeline, Jet?
Well, he just has to take his time with it and then trust his teammates that, hey, they can hold down the fort until he comes back. But he has to be 100% healthy, especially as you get later on in these playoffs, man. You don't want to be hobbled. You want to be at full capacity so you can be at your best when your best is needed.
All right, so looking at the matchup, who has the advantage, you think, in the second round? Bucks or Celtics as of today?
Without Chris Middleton, this is pretty much an even series, man. It's going to be tough. Like Smitty said, this is big boy basketball. You know, we're used to how the game is played now analytically with small ball, but there's nothing small about these 2 teams in this matchup. This is big boy basketball. Everything's going to be physical. It's going to be tough. They're going to fight for every inch of that floor, and I'm just excited and eager to see.
Chad, I'm looking like Drew Holiday. Who does he guard? then Marcus Smart. Who does he guard? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford. It's going to be some bumping. It's going to be good. I think it's going to come down to execution. I think also the bench is going to be huge. Which bench can come out there and impose their will and bring some energy, because there's going to be somebody in foul trouble very quick in all these games.
Let's look back at Game 5 and how the Milwaukee Bucks got there to advance past the Chicago Bulls. There's DeMar DeRozan. We know who he is, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Starts the game off, like we said, 7 for 7. That was the first bucket of the game. Giannis getting downhill, had 19 points to Chicago's first 20 points. That's what we mean by setting the tone.
Yeah, it is. And obviously when you watch the initial defender, it's hard because of his skill set and his strength and size. But Giannis is not even looking at the second defender coming. He's saying, hey, I'm going to go through everybody. When you get Wesley Matthews and these three-point shooters knocking down shots, the games just open up more and more. And Stan Van Gundy said it. His decision-making has gotten better and better. Giannis.
Bobby Portis with a huge game. He's been hitting the boards in this series. 14 points, 17 rebounds, and cash game.
Yeah, we know he can stretch the floor and shoot it from the perimeter, but his presence and his physicality defensively and the defensive rebounds that he brings to the table is huge for them. You know, Brook Lopez spends a lot of his time out on the perimeter, so who's the other guy besides Giannis that can get those rebounds and initiate their break? It's Bobby Portis.
And there it is, Connaughton and Grayson Allen knocking down threes. Giannis, 33 points, 11 for 15 from the field. We showed you that shot chart. That's how it looks in real time. Played just 30 minutes. DeMar DeRozan, 11 points, 5 for 10 from the field. Let's focus on the positive for the Bulls. Pat Williams, 24 in Game 4, 23, 9 for 13 from the field, 4 threes. You've been impressed how he closed out the series.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's a young fella, has not had a lot of court time because of injuries, especially this season. But he plays extremely hard. It was obviously trying his best to defend Giannis, but I like where his offense has come. He's been more comfortable knocking down shots. I think down in the future, he's going to progress into a very solid player for the Chicago Bulls.
And for the Bulls looking forward, you know, Patrick Williams coming back, DeMar DeRozan still on a contract. Zach LaVine, a free agent. Interesting situation there. From both you guys I want to hear. But, Jet, let's start with you and how Zach LaVine fits for this team in the future.
Well, you got to think. I mean, this team was number 1 seed in the East pretty much for half the season. The injury bug just caught them. And that's how it is in the NBA, man. You have to be healthy at the right time of the year. And, you know, for this team, they got a great core nucleus. DeMar DeRozan, Ball, Caruso, keep Zach LaVine. I mean, they got something to build off of. And Vucevic inside. You know, if they can, you know, surround themselves with some good role players off that bench to get some scoring off the bench and some energy, you know, this is a tough team going on into the future.
Yeah, playing in this playoff game and series without Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, and Alex Caruso. Tough out for the Chicago Bulls. Here's head coach Billy Donovan.
I thought for us, obviously, with Zach being out and Alex being out, I thought we were going to have to shoot the ball well. You know, I think going in, even